Hey, good evening. Kathy Beatty here with Divorce Support Anonymous. It's Facebook Live, Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I hope your week has been a great week in spite of going through a lot of life changes. My week was pretty good. Today was really full, a full day of training, further training and mediation. I'm required to get CE credits every year for mediation, which is always interesting because in Michigan, attorneys don't have to get continued education credits, but mediators do. So it was a good training. It was intense. It was long, and I will continue that tomorrow. Always wanting to continue to improve my skills and to be able to serve you better. And that's my goal, is to be a resource for you, someone you can ask questions of, someone you can seek direction from. That has been my ministry and work for the past 15 years. I've been a mediator for the past 9, and it is such a better process than going through the court system. And a lot of people don't realize it or know that it's out there. So I periodically will do informational videos about mediation. But if you are inquiring or you're in the middle of, or want to inquire and you're right in the middle of a divorce, let me know. Every state is different. In my county, and actually counties are different, but in my county, all of the divorce cases are ordered to mediation first before they can come into the court system. So it's becoming more and more popular to help the courts alleviate the load on the court system, and also to give you more authority to make your own determination. That self-determination is a key phrase that we heard a lot today in the training, and that's the goal of mediation. But I'm not talking about mediation tonight. Actually, I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about confrontation. But if you do have any questions, comments, please feel free to text me, and we will, or comment here on this Facebook page. You can do that as well. Being aware I combine my Facebook public page and my Facebook private group in doing these Facebook Lives. So it is somewhat public. So I just want you to be aware of that, but would love your questions and conversation. So we're going to talk tonight about confrontation. Confrontation is one of those life skills, like standing up for ourselves, that many of us are not that great at. And as you become a single person, you are going to need more skills. You're not going to have that partner there who's going to complement you where you are weak. And so we all have our weaknesses. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. And so where we have these weaknesses are those opportunities for us to learn and to grow. And that's what we can do. We can learn, we can grow. All the things that maybe we're a little bit leery of doing, like finances is a common one that people don't feel really confident about doing, but you can learn it. I learned it, you can learn it. And as far as repairs around the house, all those things that that we don't have a partner there to do, don't dismay. We can learn these skills, or we can learn and find people who are going to assist us through them. So I wanted to talk about confrontation because it is one of those skills, that negotiation and several other skills that many of us are just not that great at standing up for ourselves. For one, maybe in the dynamics in your relationship were that your spouse was the strong one and you were the more friendly one, the more peaceful one. But now you have to develop that other part of you. And don't be fearful of that. Be excited about that because you can grow, you will change. This event is going to cause you to change, but leverage it, use it in a powerful way to become a stronger, more whole person so that you can be strong in those areas where you have been weak in the past. And many of you come out of difficult relationships so that you are not really good at standing up for yourself because you come from an abusive relationship and you have been told that you weren't good in certain areas or maybe even mocked in certain areas. Well, life has just changed. And now the opportunity for you is to show people how you will be treated, what is acceptable to you. And regardless of what that has been in the past, this transition, as you probably heard me say before, is as powerful as it is painful. So what you want to do is leverage this raw time of chaos in a way that so that you can reorder it, you can rebuild it the way that you want to become, to grow, to become that complete, full, strong, solid, single person. Instead of that person who feels like, oh, I've got to have a mate or I'm not whole. I'll never be happy if I can't find that perfect mate. And that leads us to all kinds of trouble that I have spoken about in the past and I'll continue to speak on. Until you're healed and ready, don't even go there. Don't go there. So, confrontation, I keep wandering from that. If this is an area where you need healing, then I encourage you to step into, learn how and where you can become healed. So as you're healing, and no one feels strong when they're going through divorce, we feel very vulnerable and very weak. But as you're healing and as you're redesigning your life, and if you need a book on that, I've got one called Redesigning Your Future After Divorce, one of my in my book series. We can do that. And there's also 30 days of healing after divorce to help you heal so that you can design a strong, healthy life. So let's talk finally about confrontation. And I want to give you 5 pointers to consider as you are looking at a situation where you need to confront. Now, it would be nice if we never had to confront in our life, but we do. All of us have to have a time of confrontation. We don't have to do it ugly. We can do it with grace and truth. But there is going to come a time where we have to stand up for ourselves, and we have to confront a situation. So I want to give you these pointers and I want you to ask these questions. If you think in your mind, what is that situation? What is that confrontation that you need? And I know I'm working with some folks right now, 2 women, in fact, it happens to be, who are dealing with the planning on having the conversation, the confrontation about filing for divorce. Their spouses are not aware of it yet. So as we think about confrontation, whether it's this type of confrontation or another, I want to give you some tips in which to do that. First of all, I want you to ask, is this the right time? Timing is going to be essential for confrontation. Because if you're already going into a heated moment and you want to confront, you're only going to escalate the heat. So ask yourself the question, when is the right time for this conversation or confrontation to occur? When is that the right time? And there's never going to be a perfect time. And if you have someone who is not wanting to speak with you, then you're just going to have to stake a time, claim a time, and make it happen. But keep in mind, is this the right timing for a confrontation? The next question is, what is your motivation? Why is it necessary that you have this confrontation communication? Is it because a truth needs to be clarified? Is it in the best interest of the children? Is it someone going against the judgment of divorce that you have in place, or the domestic agreement? What is the motivation? Why are you doing this? What's your motivation for doing it? Do you want to clear the air? Do you want to punish someone? Is that your motivation? Think this through, because I know it happens. I see it in mediation all the time, where people are trying to punish the other person. So as you consider your confrontation, ask yourself, what's my motivation? Is the motive pure? Is it right? Do you need to do it to stand up for yourself? Do you need to do it to speak the truth? But just examine what that is. Next is, where's your authority? If you're going to confront somebody on something that's not any of your business and you have no authority over that area, why? Why? Where's your authority? If you are the one offended, you have authority. It's your body, it's your life. If your children are offended, you have authority. It's your children, it's your life. But make sure that you have authority, that it's something that's your business and you're able to speak on. So Laurel states, I want closure. Absolutely. Hi, Cindy from North Carolina. Good to have you with us tonight. Closure is absolutely a motivation and an authority to have a confrontation. Absolutely. So as we think about that, what's our motivation? Get that clear. You want closure. That means, does it mean that confrontation is where this closure is going to happen? And of course, I don't have enough information to really guide that question further, but maybe it's a confrontation is not going to create closure. It might even create more conflict. So look at, where are your options in closure? Sometimes it is closure. But what is your motivation is really important. What is your authority? Do you have authority to speak on the topic? So as you consider this, ask yourself those questions, and then as you're ready to confront, you're going to take out some of the emotion. And I know that's a challenge, but if you want to be effective in a confrontation, if you come at them with all these blaring emotions, you're going to cause that person to be defensive, whether this is your ex-spouse or anyone else. That person's going to be defensive. It's an automatic reaction. Their brain's going to shut down. They're going to operate on the back of their brain, and it's going to be fight or flight. So if we can remove and come calmly and speak with facts directly without apology, we might be able to be more effective. Let me see what's up here with, okay. Yeah, Cynthia, you are very welcome. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any of the comments there. So speak factually, directly, and without apology. So many times I speak with people who have such struggles in communicating with their former spouse. And the reason they do is because they are having emotional conversations, which, as you divorce, you have no business having emotional conversations with your spouse. This takes a real mind shift, but that person is no longer safe, nor as intimate as they once were. So you have to be guarded, speak with facts only. I'll pick up the children 3 o'clock at school. done. This is going to give so much peace into your life. So many people have come back to me and told me that it's, oh, wow, it made such a world of difference. I didn't put any thoughts, feelings, anything. I simply put in the facts. So as you're confronting someone, and this is your spouse, this is your children, this is anyone in the community, a boss, anyone, you're going to speak directly, factually, without apology. Why do I say without apology? Because if you're one of the many women I know specifically who love to apologize, I'm sorry, but no, speak without apology. You don't have to apologize for being offended, for being hurt, for being someone mistreating you, or someone disregarding, respecting you. You don't have to apologize for that. You don't have to apologize for someone who doesn't follow the rules. So let me see what else we've got there. Aw. Oh, Cynthia, separated for 11 months now after 27 years of marriage. I'm so sorry. I'm so very sorry. This information is hopefully going to be really helpful to you, because this confrontation is going to come. It may even come in mediation, which is, a whole nother area to discuss, a whole nother skill set. But you are going to speak factually, directly, and without apology, and that's true in mediation as well, actually. But there's many more skill sets that you need in mediation. So you're going to speak in grace and truth. And this is something I just went through a 2-hour webinar with Dr. Henry Cloud, who's the author of Boundaries, and it was on confrontation. Now, he gave it a different slant than I am, because his slant was to reconnect and to reestablish and save a relationship, where when you're going through a divorce, that's not the case. In fact, it's not safe for you to be doing that right now. But when you are confronting, he spoke, and I will agree totally that you need to speak in grace and truth. What does that mean? That means that you're going to speak factually, directly, without apology, but you're going to present it in a way that doesn't cut the person off at the knees. Grace, gentleness, truthfulness. And then truth, you're going to speak the truth. You're going to speak the facts of the truth. And if you need to get into how it has hurt you or affected you, you could say it has impacted me by. You're going to stay as factual as you can, but you're going to speak the truth. And I don't know how good you have been at that lately. Many of us are so good. I talk about it in my book about being a queen of rationalization. We can rationalize everyone else's behavior. We need to stop that. It's not healthy. It's not smart. So as we confront, we are going to confront with grace and truth. A couple of scriptures, which I love, of course, because they guide us in how to live, how to confront, how to have relationship, and how to communicate. Colossians 4:6, let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. Seasoned with salt. That's an interesting phrase, isn't it? Full of grace, seasoned with salt, preserve it, keep it, continue it. So you'll know how to answer everyone. So if you just get your mindset that I'm going to answer everyone with grace, I'm going to be empathetic, I'm going to give a gentle answer, and the scriptures say a gentle answer turns away wrath. So we're going to give grace. And then one of the reasons the scriptures say in Ephesians, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into him who is a head, into Christ. And Christ was such an example of grace and truth. He never had one without the other. Grace, he met people where they were. He compassionately spoke with them, but he spoke the truth. He didn't package it. He didn't market it. He spoke the truth. So if we want to be successful in life, our goal, and if you're a Christian, you probably know this, but our goal is to live as Christ, to live, to work, to think, to do as Christ. If you're not a Christian, I'd encourage you just to read the scriptures and watch how beautifully Jesus does that, grace and truth. Go to the woman at the well and how he handles her with grace, but with truth. So confrontation is always, always, always something that we're going to have to deal in. And here's another, as you're confronting with people, it's BIFF, it's called be brief, informative, friendly, and firm. So nothing wimpy about that. It's very direct and it's helpful. Okay, more how-tos. So if someone is coming to confront you, how do you respond? You use some sentences like this. This is not acceptable to me. This won't work for me. This won't work. You don't have to give continual explanation. Or you can say, this will not work, but this will, and give an option. But you don't have to give extensive explanations when someone confronts you and it's not acceptable to you. Or you could say, that is not the truth. Period. I think we hurt ourselves sometimes in talking too much. And we need to learn to just respond and let go. You don't have to explain yourself. So if you are the one to confront, how do you do it? Do you text? Text can always be very easily misinterpreted. Do you call? That's better. If you are connected with a resource, an app called Family Wizard, that's a really good way to communicate because it has this little tone meter. So if you are talking on the phone or leaving a voice text and the tone gets too high, this little flag will come up and let you know. In person, if this is a safe place for you to do in person, then do it in person. So start friendly and calmly. Think about what's your motivation, what's your goal, what do you want out of this confrontation? Don't just go confront without any reason or explanation. Know your motivation, know what it is that you want. You can also speak the reason for the confrontation. It's in the best interest of the children. It's against the judgment of divorce. It's not what we agreed on in the agreement. You can state those simple facts. But as you confront, and you will need to confront, take a very deep breath, stand confidently, ask yourself these questions: timing, motivation, is it my authority? Speak factually, directly, without apology, speak in grace and truth. And you will learn the skill of standing up for yourself in confrontation. This is going to work for you with your children, with your former spouse, with your boss, everyone. And you do not have to, Sina, and you do not have to answer unnecessary questions. Yes, Sina, thank you. Absolutely. Don't get drug into the dance here. Speak your truth. Let it go. Don't get sucked into the dance because it's a no-win situation. We don't want any more no-win situations. We want the empowerment of standing up for ourselves, healing in this area, growing in this area, because we're going to need it as a healthy single adult. I hope this has been helpful. Connect with me if I can be of any assistance. I adore you, all of you, and I appreciate you coming and joining me tonight. And I want you to know, Laura, you'll be in my prayers tonight. Cynthia, you as well. And Sina, I'm watching you, and you're just rocking it. So take care, and we'll catch up with you next week. Kathy Beatty, Divorce Support Anonymous. Good evening.